Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the opening ceremonies of our Kitchener-Waterloo television station, CKCO-TV.
Good evening. It was 60 years ago tonight that a new project flickered to life in Kitchener. The birth of CKCO-TV brought excitement and curiosity, but also the sense that something big, something significant was happening.
Back then, television was considered a miracle, and people in Kitchener-Waterloo were eager to create their own. During the last 6 decades, this station has helped capture the victories, the adversities, and the events that helped shape us to who we are. We're celebrating 60 with a look at the journey we've all been on together.
1954. It cost just pennies to park. Gas was a mere 22 cents a gallon, and you could buy a brand new car for about $1,500. Here in Kitchener-Waterloo, the economy was humming and King Street was buzzing.
Kitchener, population about 45,000.
As the city's main artery, King connected dozens of manufacturers, making products like furniture, tires, and televisions.
CKCO-TV, Channel 13, Kitchener-Waterloo.
And that year, another new product would be added to the list.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
CKCO-TV hit the airwaves on Channel 13, or as it was called by station co-founder Carl Pollack that first night, Lucky 13.
We want you to know that it is our purpose to provide an entertainment and an educational service, which we hope will become a welcome and an interesting home companion for you.
CKCO quickly began a tradition of local programming.
Headlining tonight's news, first of all, a Kitchener woman was killed today in a highway accident.
For the first time, people in KW could watch what was happening in their community.
There's a new vehicle cruising through the streets of Kitchener, Ontario this week, indicating something new for the area.
That first mobile truck would help CKCO capture change as it happened. Milestones like the introduction of Kitchener's first shopping mall, the Frederick Street Plaza in 1955, and the establishment of a new university a few years later.
By the 1960s, most Canadian households had a television.
And while this community was more connected through its local station, 2 new highways, the 401 and the Expressway, solidified a new, dramatically different reality.
Gary McLaren was one of the first reporters to work at CKCO.
There were a lot of people at the time who said, hey, we don't need a ring road or a parkway, but it's proven to be a godsend. It was a tremendous spur to development in Kitchener and surrounding area.
CKCO helped guide viewers through the changes at home and the happenings around the world. Like the Beatles' debut in America.
It's one small step for man.
Neil Armstrong's moon landing and the Kennedy assassination.
The president was hit in the head.
The world watched, including people in Kitchener-Waterloo. But by the late 60s, an idea was brewing at home that would eventually have the world talking about us.
They got the German clubs together and said, you know, we can do this. We can really build it into something similar to Oktoberfest in Germany.
And they did. In 1969, the first Kitchener-Waterloo Oktoberfest celebrations came to life, and every year after that.
From Kitchener-Waterloo, the 1992 Oktoberfest Parade.
Controversial change dominated the 1970s.
Decisions like the amalgamation of Preston, Galt, and Hespeler to form Cambridge, and the formation of a new regional government.
Yet despite the political shifts, our reporters were also kept busy telling stories about booming business.
Good evening, I'm Jim Haskins.
And I'm Pamela McKenzie.
Local companies like Seagram's, Bud Canada, and Uniroyal Goodrich were prospering in the region's successful manufacturing sector. However, as the 80s came to an end, uncertainty was looming.
The coming of a new year is typically a time for reflection on the year past, and 1987 certainly had its moments of triumph and tragedy.
It wasn't long until casualties of a faltering industry started to emerge. Factories that had once employed thousands began folding. Year after year, more jobs disappeared, and the future of Waterloo Region became somewhat uncertain. Yet a spark of optimism could be seen, specifically in a little company called Research in Motion.
Their plans are to, as they say, quote, out-rim rim. So I guess what that means is we're doing something very, very right.
The BlackBerry, the world's first handheld email device, would become the region's biggest employer and also a source of pride. So would the other high-tech startups that began sprouting up, giving the area a reputation for innovation. A reputation that still stands, and a reputation that still offers hope. Today, the region is in many ways an eerie reflection of its former self. Those traces of our early identity can still be found, serving as reminders that a story of transformation has taken place. A story we are proud to have told along the way.
Traces of this station's early identity can be found in the halls and back rooms of CTV Kitchener. You might remember this treasure chest from Big Al's Ranch Party.
It was just one of many popular programs produced here in this building on King Street West. Coming up after the break, we're going to take a stroll down memory lane with a look at some of the programs and personalities that kept us laughing.
But of course, things don't always go as planned.
During the winter months, the Ministry of Transportation recommends checking your air tire frequently.
We'll also share a few of our own stumbles and slip-ups later on Celebrating 60.
I grew up watching Big Al's cartoon capers, Canadian Bandstand, Bowling for Dollars, Scan News, so it was quite an honor to join the station in the mid-70s as the 6 o'clock anchor. I stayed for 20 years, met a lot of great people at the station and in the Kitchener-Waterloo-Cambridge community, some of whom I count among my best friends today. Happy 60th to CKCO-TV, CTV Kitchener.
Hola everyone from sunny Mexico. I just want to wish CTV Southwestern Ontario a very happy 60th anniversary. It's hard to believe that I was there for 30 of those years. It's a top-notch organization. Of course, the people that I worked with, I can't say enough good things about, and the people working there now are doing a very fine job of continuing that excellent tradition of service to the community. And most of all, I'd like to thank the viewers who stuck with me for so long through thick and thin. Happy 60th anniversary, CTV Southwestern Ontario. Hasta luego.
60 years ago, a new business opened in Kitchener, but it was more than just a business. It was part of an industry that would change our lives. But over the years, one thing that never changed at CTV Kitchener was the emphasis on news people, hosts, and performers, whom viewers would welcome into their homes.
4 o'clock and time to come into the kitchen.
An early weekday favorite is Come Into the Kitchen with Violet Scriver.
And to make this a salad that will have those little pieces of meat in it, I'm opening 1 tin of Spam.
Her trusty helper in the kitchen is Reg Sellner, who appears in many CKCO programs.
Well, good afternoon. Pleasant Friday it is, too. And we have to mention this. The girls from Smiles and Chuckles came down.
Almost all the shows are live and often feature a studio audience.
It's the Billy O'Connor Show, featuring the Billy O'Connor Quintet and Sylvia Murphy. Why, it's great to be back, great to be back.
The Billy O'Connor Show has top-rated performers. With big talent belting out favorite tunes. A generation of youngsters across the region grew up with Big Al.
If you're all set, here is our birthday theme.
Cartoon capers, Big Al's Fort, and Ranch Party. Just some of the CKCO shows that starred Big Al over the years. Canadian Bandstand ran on Saturday afternoons. Young people would come into the studio and dance. The show was hosted by a number of people over the years, but for the boomers, the host they remember is Grantley. It was hard to grow up in Waterloo Region and not watch or be on Romper Room. CKCO produced Romper Room as a CTV network program for 20 years. It had the longest run of any program on the CTV network.
Hi, Tricia. There you are. I see Tricia and Lawrence.
Item number 319 from T&O Inn and 50 Weaver Street North in Waterloo, a voucher to the value of $45.
The annual Kinsman auction is almost as old as the station itself. Starting in 1955, it's the longest running televised event of its kind in North America.
Tonight on Province-Wide, surviving her first year in office.
Province-Wide, hosted by Diane Vernile, is the longest continually running current affairs program in Canada, and she's also hosted a number of town halls.
And as the weather heats up, so does the topless debate.
From CKCO Action News, a special town hall debate going topless in Ontario.
And here's a few more gems from the CTV Kitchener archives.
It's polka time with Canada's King of Polka, Walter Ostanak, and his show band.
And that completes our 10th annual Schneider's Search for Talent contest here in the Drayton Arena. We'll be back in just a moment to announce the winners.
Come with me, we're going to the treehouse.
There you are.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Jeff Healey Band.
Ping pong ball. I've got a head like a ping pong ball. I've got a head like a ping pong ball. Ping like a ping pong ball.
CKCO went on the air on March 1st, 1954. The first television station in the country had signed on just 2 years earlier. Now, people in Waterloo region were seeing themselves on television for the first time.
One of the earliest programs is the Elaine Cole Show, debuting in June 1954. A spokesperson for the Red Cross, station managers are impressed with her ease in front of the cameras and offer her a daily slot. A longtime presence at CKCO-TV was broadcaster Betty Thompson. She joined the station in the late 50s and enjoyed a national profile as the host of Romper Room and continued to make her mark in a series of lifestyle programs.
The star and director, Charlton Heston, is our guest today. This film marked your debut as a director, Mr. Heston. Why did you choose a Shakespearean play?
Betty ventured out from behind the camera to reach out to her community, volunteering and fundraising for a host of charities. Betty fought a battle with cancer, passing away in 1994.
30 seconds, Mr. Walters. Mr. Walters, 30 seconds.
Johnny Walters hosted a number of shows on CKCO. Always innovative and offbeat, Johnny brought all his energy to daytime television.
Listen, you missed it by 1 year. I'm going to send you a note. Thank you for answering the phone this morning. I do wish you'd dial us in some morning, though, okay? Because we're on the air from 11:30 to 12 o'clock noon. It's a very friendly show. It's very informal.
Sun Times, would you accept 538 and 842? Now, statistically, I have written this down for you. 13 degrees, 56 Fahrenheit. Humidity is really very low.
This is going to be tough, Bucky. It's going to be weird. It's going to be strange, yeah, but he's gone now. He doesn't want to be on television. Okay, he won the money, though. How many letters in the Polynesian alphabet? The answer is 12, and the guy gets $50. Are you back here? You won the money. Where are you?
There has certainly been a lot of change here at CTV Kitchener over the past 60 years as performers and hosts moved on and new shows replaced old ones.
Not to mention these red jackets. They were first introduced when the news started broadcasting in color, and they stuck around for more than 20 years, looking pretty sharp, Randy.
I prefer the term jazzy. Kidding aside, all the change that's gone on, not only on the set but behind the scenes, has been incredible. Coming up on Celebrating 60, we'll show you the technology and how it's been used to bring you the news every day and how it's transformed the broadcasting world.
Of course, technology is only good when it works. CTV's David Emery is in Waterloo tonight. David, what's driving this decision?
Did I hear someone saying something to me?
Coming up, we'll share some of our finest moments with you.
Congratulations on 60 years. Growing up in Brantford watching CKCO, it was an honor to be part of the team. So many wonderful moments, parachuting at the Stratford Summer Music Festival, running with the Olympic torch in Tavistock, and of course, meeting my wife Leslie right there in the newsroom. Cambridge is home and CTV Kitchener is still my local news. Congratulations once again.
Hi folks, it's a beautiful sunny day here by the lake, and I just wanted to send along my best wishes as you celebrate 60 years. I'm proud to have been part of that rich history and tradition. So I want to send along my congratulations to everyone, including the loyal viewers, on this wonderful accomplishment. Stay classy, KW.
Well, we couldn't produce a 60th anniversary special without talking about an essential factor in television, of course, the technology that allows us to do our jobs.
Now, this camera made its debut at the 1988 Calgary Winter Olympics. At the time, this camera was state-of-the-art. Now it's a museum piece.
And this is a 1-inch videotape. Once the standard for playing back and recording programs, this is just one episode of Romper Room.
3, 2, 1, slow zoom.
The images you see on CTV Kitchener wouldn't be possible without the technology and the crew that operates it. When CKCO goes to air in 1954, there are no live cameras, no studio, and no link to a network. But that all changes as the station gears up to begin broadcasting its own locally produced programs.
Good evening and welcome to edition number 33 of Weekend Journal.
Television news is a pretty bland affair in the early days. It usually features a man sitting behind a desk, reading that day's current events, sports, and weather. No teleprompter, no women, and no fancy sets.
Let's talk sports with Tom Rafferty.
Here are the headlines in tonight's sport news. Magley will likely open for the Dodgers in the 1956 World Series.
In 1954, news cameramen are in a race against time. Their film must be shot and returned to the station by mid-afternoon to be processed, which takes a couple of hours.
You had to have it in before 4:30 or you wouldn't have it for the newscast.
In the early 1970s, a revolution sweeps television production. Videotape. This magnetic tape allows recorded messages to be played back immediately. It completely changes the nature of TV news gathering and production. Photographers can shoot more because videotape is cheaper, and the quick turnaround means deadlines are pushed later. It's been hailed as the greatest single technological change in television broadcasting. Close behind, microwave trucks and live reporting. In the mid-1990s, CTV Kitchener takes delivery of its first live truck. Viewers are able to see live events during a newscast.
Good evening and welcome to a special edition of CTV News at 6 o'clock. We are live in St. Jacobs tonight.
Today, production at CTV Kitchener is geared to news and current affairs, but news has always been a big part of what we do.
For reporters in the early years, the typewriter was the workhorse of the newsroom. Manual, then electric. Information coming in on teletype machines from newswire services. As technology changed, so did the gear. Cameras are lighter and smaller. Two-man crews, a reporter and cameraman, give way to the videographer, where the reporter is his or her own camera operator. The next wave of change in broadcasting was wireless. Live remotes using cell phone technology. Videotape itself gives way to SD cards, almost an hour of video stored on a chip smaller than a quarter. Images captured in the field can be viewed on any computer in the building. Reporters able to do it all at their desks, or if it's close to deadline, from the field on a smartphone or laptop.
News 60 years ago was same day on a good day. Today it's immediate, live anytime, from almost anywhere.
And while technology has changed, it has not made us immune to problems. Although you're less likely to see this late, mistakes still happen.
The technology is great when it works, which is most of the time, but there are those occasions when the gear or communication breaks down.
Over the past 60 years, there have been big stories, big personalities, and big shows, and the occasional small mistake.
Please laugh along with us at some of our favorite miscues and blunders.
as another high-pressure ridge moves in. Now, that high will bring with it slightly cooler temperatures for the first couple of days of summer, and I say that's a rather interesting-looking map.
Proceeds go to Kids Can Play and the Cambridge Icehounds. And CTV's Darren Stevenson joins us now. Darren, this game always features a number of local NHL stars.
The power is to get nurses and power station workers to work overtime. Whoa!
Family hopes to complete this trip by the end of... Whoop.
Stop! Stop!
U.S. President Bill Clinton has arrived in China to an extravagant, pardon me, Diane just did something very funny. Clinton hopes his 9-day visit will improve relations with China. We have this report.
Ontario Lottery and Gaming says lottery ticket sales have actually gone up since the Ombudsman's report released last week. Tricia.
We're up. Oh, I'm sorry. Welcome back. Randy is here for sports, and the OHL season starts tonight.
It happens.
It does.
CTV's Nadia Matos has been speaking to fire officials. Nadia, what are their recommendations?
Well, Michael, fireworks can be potentially deadly, so firefighters say treat them that way and you will stay safe.
You may want to think twice about bringing food to work. Researchers tested office refrigerators.
Well, thank you very much for joining us, Mark. Meghan.
All right, thanks, Nicole. A final question. The two drugs involved here, which cancers are they used to treat?
Well, according to Cancer Care Ontario's website,
Hello, everybody. I'm Bill Lincoln. This week on the Bats Blue Jays Baseball, we'll check the following stories.
I think you better do that again.
Why?
I didn't like it.
Corn was selling today $138.50 purchase price per metric ton. The flies are free.
We have a look at the weather now. Tony Shear has taken the day off so he can attend a funeral. A wedding, that is. My goodness. So Linda Richards is making a guest appearance today.
Royal wedding fever decidedly rather low here in the Waterloo region right now, but with a week to go, we have found some interest in next week's nuptials.
Some individual with an axe, a sharp device, and
Whoa!
oh boy. All right, I was not expecting that.
Dish to do, because you're just gonna do it on one side.
I think we've set off our smoke.
I know.
I can hear it out in the hallway.
You're gonna put a little bit more in. I'm gonna throw the shallots in.
If the fire department is watching, it's okay, we're fine. Well, we have some visitors because, you know, we set off the smoke detector during our cooking segment with Chef Jill, and you guys were watching?
Yes. Yep. Well, there will undoubtedly be a few more of those in our future.
Absolutely. That brings us to the end of Celebrating 60. We hope you'll join us when we celebrate our next milestone.